All right, everybody, this is our first episode of our podcast, the Fighting Nerds podcast. Took us a while to figure out a name, but since we like fighting and we're a bit nerdy at the same time, seems like everyone at our gym too.
We're all kind of nerdy in our own little way.
Yeah, whether it's fighting, whether it's comic books or video games or movies.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Someone almost spoiled Game of Thrones today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hate spoilers.
Spoilers are the worst.
There's like three kinds of spoilers too. There's like the ones who they're the accidental. I call them innocent spoilers. You know, like they don't mean to spoil it. They think they're not spoiling anything, but they actually are.
Yeah, I know that. Oh,
it's like, just I didn't tell you anything. I just only told you the important part. I only told you the ending.
I just told you that someone dies. Okay.
It doesn't matter. And then you have the ones who like they don't spoil, but they just give you a hint, but it's like they don't realize it's a big hint.
Yeah.
So there's those ones, and then the ones who just spoil on purpose to you, or like
they
tell you,
troll people.
Yeah, they troll you, or they purposely they tell you like the opposite of what's going to happen, thinking I didn't really tell you what happened. or they give you like going back to the second spoiler. I have a friend at work who does that. He's like, Avengers, the Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
He goes, and somebody dies. I'm like, why'd you tell me that? It's like, I didn't tell you who. I'm like,
my cousin on Facebook, he posted, "Rest in peace, Ant-Man." And I'm like, well, because I already knew that there's a sequel for Ant-Man, right? So you know that like he's not the one. He doesn't die in Civil War.
Yeah.
But I just trolled. I was like, I hate you. Like unfriended. Like I'm unfriending you. You're my cousin, but I unfriended you.
Yeah, I have a cousin who also like every episode of Walking Dead, she ends up saying something. I'm like, why did you do that? Or another one. I have another friend. I told you I'd get you back. His name's Kevin. I have him on Facebook. He used to train with me. He ended up saying spoiler alert, but right after spoiler, he says exactly what's going to happen. Like if you're going to spoil something on Facebook, right? Spoiler alert, and then give a few spaces.
Yeah, a lot of spaces. So says it's like you have to click read more so that you don't see the spoiler and then you just see spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. Then I almost unfriended him. Almost unfriended family because they're spoiling. That's the problem with the internet too. It's like, remember when AMC actually spoiled their own, like an hour after when spoiler alert. This was last season when Beth died on Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
And then an hour after the show, less than 24 hours, AMC like did an RIP Beth. It was their mistake. It was a marketing mistake.
Yeah, it's because it was showing in Eastern, but it hadn't shown yet in Pacific time.
Oh, okay. So
that's why people like saw the status and like what, like she died.
So yeah. Well, so just I'm looking forward to Civil War. It just came out tonight, right? Tonight's the opening.
Yeah. Well, it's the opening weekend.
Opening weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Winter Soldier was probably my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Same. Yeah.
I was surprised on how good. I'm a big Cap fan. And
Team Cap?
Team Cap. I'm Team
Are you
Cap.
Team Cap?
I'm Team Cap.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, Team Cap.
I don't know how they're going with it. I read the books. I don't know if you read the Civil War story.
I read it. Not the complete, like, like they all like mesh together.
Yeah.
I didn't read the complete.
It was actually the first storyline. I don't know why. Like some people weren't a big fan of the story. They thought it was a big mess. I honestly liked it a lot, and I even read. It was the first storyline that I read like other parts like that. I read the X-Men side. I read Wolverine, which is interesting too, and so get the fuck out of here. That was Jovian. I make fun of him all the time. One of our boys, when he's next to it.
Every day. Later, Balrog.
We call him Balrog because he kind of looks like Balrog from Street Fighter.
He's big and he's...
Jovian, get over here, before you leave. Get over here. I'm going to show it. All you're missing is that gap in your teeth in your Balrog.
Yeah, you need your red boxing gloves.
There, you just look at the camera.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Oh, shit.
All right, get the fuck out of here. Take it easy, buddy.
There, Jovian.
So I read a lot of the Avengers, and it was cool. The cool thing about Civil War is that the story was good because although you might favor a side, if you look into it in retrospect, they both made good points. Like the reason it was more like Iron Man's reasoning behind Civil War, or going with in books, it was a registration act for superheroes, kind of like Incredibles or even X-Men when they tried to register mutants because something happened. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't watched it yet.
Or read the book.
Or read the books. Comic book. Yeah. But, something happens, an event happens that forces the hand of the government to, they need to register heroes where they basically work for the government. But it was a way of control. And that's what Captain America didn't like. And it was pretty interesting because given their status, Tony Stark is more of the what do you call him, like the eccentric guy. And Cap is usually, the patriotic, do follow the rules type thing, but roles kind of got reversed because Cap realized it was kind of a harm to their liberties. Obviously, these are superheroes. We're talking about comic books in real life.
It doesn't sound.
In real life,
it's hard to translate from real life.
You have to take it into perspective of these are comic books and it's fake. These are fake characters, but I was leaning with Team Cap even with the superhero storyline because his argument was that registering gives control of government, but also, people, the bad guys had infiltrated, and there's the risk of, these masked heroes. They would have to give up their identities, but that could risk their families getting hurt and so on. That was his biggest fear. And Iron Man said going from a logical perspective that, you have to balance. It's like if we don't there's going to be more harm than good by not registering. He didn't agree with it initially, but he thought it was the best option. And even like Mr. Fantastic, there's superheroes were divided. Mr. Fantastic calculated every single possibility. He wanted to be for against the registration, but in the end, he was able to calculate possibilities and like possible casualties that would happen that if they didn't do it, because it would create a war and all sides would lose. And it was a really interesting perspective, and that even divided caused a rift between him and his wife, Invisible Woman, who ended up in the books sided with Team Cap.
At the end. For those who haven't read the book, the comic book, there in the movie we only see those heroes that were introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whereas in the comic book there's a lot more heroes involved. X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Thor even. There's
Well,
Thor,
not exactly.
Well, we don't want to spoil it, but so there's a lot more characters involved in the comic book than the actual movie. But from what you've seen in the trailer, from those involved, I know like everybody knows that Spider-Man's in it and Black Panther's in it now. What is your take on at least? Okay, so let's go from the battle perspective. You know who's on Team Iron Man. You have Iron Man, Black Widow, Vision, Black Panther.
From what we see.
Yeah, from what we've seen.
From the trailers,
Again, we don't know who.
War Machine, obviously.
War Machine 2. And then on Cap's side, you have Falcon, Cap,
Hawkeye,
Scarlet Witch,
and
Ant-Man. Yeah. Now, from those characters that.
And obviously Bucky.
Right. Can't forget Bucky. From those characters that you've seen in the trailer, you know who's on whose side. Which team do you think would win just based on skill, power? That clash at the airport, who would win that battle? We don't know. We haven't seen the actual battle sequence.
It depends on who's most prepared, to be honest. Because what happens is, if you want to look at it from a tactical perspective, Cap is very tactical, right? That's his advantage, despite him being not as super powered as even Iron Man, who has his technology, and Iron Man has vision on his side. Even Black Panther, who's on par with Cap in terms of physical strength and abilities, maybe it looks like he's a lot more agile, though, compared from what I've seen in the trailers. Just from that perspective, but Black Panther, he also matches Cap in tactics as well, because he's a tactical warrior in his own right. Just from that, though, the difference maker, though, it depends on how Marvel, the cinematic universe, portrays them. Because Iron Man has Vision on his side, and that the Vision in the movie version seems a lot more powerful than the comic book version, because the comic book version, he's just an android, whereas in the movie version he has an Infinity Gem. Again, we won't go too much detail because it will be here forever, but that obviously gives him a lot of power. But on Cap's side, you have Scarlet Witch.
Exactly, and I was about to say that.
And she's well, in the book, she's like crazy powerful, like to the point where she can barely control her own powers, manipulates reality. But they nerfed her powers for the movie, it seems. Yeah. But I don't know how they're going to portray it in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, so yeah, the thing is that's the thing. Like it's a matter of, I think it's a matter of whose team works the best. I think from that perspective. Iron Man, even despite him, like the Iron Man, he can be a little arrogant in his stuff. He knows it, but he'll jump to stuff. And just if we would take back just from the first Avengers movie, when Cap says we need a plan, and Iron Man's plan was like, yeah, my plan is what does he say? We hit him hard or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he just wanted to attack. He wasn't
just attack. That's what he says. My plan is attack, and he just jumps in. But you have to. Cap is the type of person who would plan things out. And even though Iron Man has Black Panther on his side, he's not used to working with him. And we don't know. Who knows? Something might happen. I don't know if he jumps ship because in the books, but it's right out. I'm not spoiling anything. Black Panther sides with Team Cap right away. So obviously and actually even in the books, Vision is on Cap's side in the comic books, but he's a different Vision, so it depends. I have no idea. And but just based on that. It's a really tough choice because, I would think because of Cap's ability to bring a team together, and it's even shown in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like even Iron Man says in Age of Ultron, he's the boss. Even Iron Man admits that like Cap is the best suit to lead something. So that has it. But if you go for just from powers, it'd be hard to measure. Like what was your thinking?
Well, like at least in my head, like I said, teamwork is like if you were to match both teams, I think teamwork would be whoever has the better teamwork, like you said, has the better advantage. At least in my thinking, I chose Team Cap, not because I am Team Cap, but just because he's a natural leader.
It's also his movie.
It's also his movie. So, whatchamacallit? He because he's a natural leader, he's able to round up the troops, maybe bring the energy, the teamwork to the actual battle.
Yeah.
Whereas at least on Iron Man's team, they might they might fight on the same side, but they might fight individually.
Right.
Whereas on Cap's side, it might be more calculated. Like you said, he's more of a tactician, so they might have a plan or strategy behind the battle.
The example. The only ones on Iron Man's side that are used to working together is Iron Man, Black Widow, and War Machine.
Yeah,
but those three together haven't really worked together. Black Panther's new, so he has to adjust to their dynamics. And then they brought in Spider-Man's a difference maker.
Yeah, he's kind of like
he's the wild card,
exactly,
the dark horse of that team. So he's like, because he looks like he's going toe to toe, or even if not even beating Bucky, from what I've seen in the trailers, and. So that is different, but he's young, but again, he has vision. Like that's another big part of it. But on another side, Team Cap's worked with Bucky for a long. They worked together for him. Again, from the trailer, we see them being able to double team Iron Man. I don't know the result of that. Then you have same thing. Even though Hawkeye doesn't in the comics, Hawkeye and Cap don't get along, but it looks like in the movies they do. But he's a similar type of guy. He's a regular guy. He just shoots arrows, but he's also used that. But then you have their dark horse is Ant-Man. So he's underrated. People don't realize how powerful he is, despite the fact that he shrinks. It's a silly. You think of it as a silly power, but he maintains, if not gets stronger when he's smaller. So there's little things, and he was able to take down Falcon by himself in his movie. And then you have Falcon, who's worked with Cap a lot too, and then you have Scarlet Witch, who seemed like obviously time has passed since Age of Ultron. They've been working. He's been training her
with the new Avengers team.
With the new Avengers team. Right. So I give a slight edge to Team Cap in terms of if that clash alone, I kind of give him that edge just because of the team dynamics that they'd probably be able to do. But then there's a lot of other variables. It's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that just that battle sequence at the airport.
Yeah,
it's going to be probably the climax of the film.
Yeah, hopefully, and seeing especially the Black Panther the Black Panther Cap fight is always interesting because they're about equal. They're equals in terms of physical feats. Like they're at peak human level. Obviously, in the movies they made them actually a little more powerful. But that's an interest. I love that matchup. Two of my favorite characters because I'm Team Cap, but I'm also like I'm Team Black Panther, whichever side. I just want to say I couldn't wait to see him in the movies. Yeah. And like as a fighter myself, or somebody who trains in fighting, like I've always leaned towards the fighters. Like my favorite superheroes are Batman, Wolverine. Even though Wolverine has powers, but he's a fighter in nature. Like he's a skilled fighter. People forget that. And obviously Cap, Daredevil, Black Panther. All those guys are in my top. They're all fighters. Like I'm not too crazy. I love superpowered characters, but they're not in my favorite. Except Hulk. I love Hulk just because he just smashes shit.
Smashed everything in his path.
Yeah.
What do you think about Spider-Man's suit, quote unquote suit costume?
I think I like it. Respecting a lot of people know the stuff, the Steve Ditko artwork. Like they respect the way his eyes are. They're making fun of how his eyes are animated, but because it doesn't really match with. He technically shouldn't be able to see through it, but it's a minor detail. But the look, I like it. They kind of took a little bit of everything. The original movie, especially the Amazing, like the style. They stylized the boots and stuff. Right. But I like how they respected the original comic book look. And I think what's his name? Holland, the actor playing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's gonna do a really good job, like especially for future movies, because Spider-Man. If we want to respect the comic books, he was a kid when he started.
Yeah, he was in high school.
He was in high school, so it makes sense. And all the other movies, they kind of jumped to college, mm-hmm. or him in university, whatever, trying to balance being a hero and studying. But he was young in the books when he first became Spider-Man in the early '60s. He was struggling being a teenager, being a superhero, and that's an I think. But overall, yeah, I like his look. I think it's the closest thing to what he looked in the books, like instead of the 3D webbing and then
the what you call it, the legs coming out.
Oh, the Iron Spider.
The Iron Spider.
Yeah. He has that in the movie?
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
well,
okay.
not in the trailer, but like in the books, he had that, right?
Yeah. During the Civil War story, Iron Man made him the Iron Spider suit, which was a cool touch. It was just a way to help with his. I think at that point there was something happened where he was balancing his powers and stuff. So we'll see. How about I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm hearing nothing but great things already. It just came out, at least in North America. It just came out this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I think the Captain America movies, at least especially since Winter Soldier, combat-wise, favorite fight scenes or favorite fight action sequences have been in that movie. And I think this one is going to even take it up a notch with the inclusion of more Bucky and because I'm picky about fighting,
I know,
and it's hard and obviously I'm a reality based trainer guy like MMA, Senshido, self defense, combatives. So I get picky when I watch them because I'm this type of guy that are like that can never work. But I understand how movie works too. You need to be dynamic, or else it has to be pleasing to the eye. But I really enjoyed the sequences in Winter Soldier, and I love the choreography. I usually look up who does the choreography. I have to check it out, but kudos to those guys because I really was impressed. And for any of all superhero movies or comic book movies, I think it was the best fight scenes, but best fight sequences to date.
Yep.
So there's also there's some fights coming up. We have
actually. This weekend's pretty big with in the combat sports scene. We got, at least for boxing, we have Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan.
Yeah,
I know Wes is a big boxing fan, so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, Bob. I love boxing. Like even though I'm more of an MMA guy and I train MMA, my base I love boxing as a base. It's probably my favorite part of combat sports because I like hands. Like there was a saying somebody once I forget who told me, it was like, if your hands are good, doesn't matter what your legs do. Although I obviously throw kicks and stuff, but boxing, a good boxing base is, I think, the most essential thing. It's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, martial art, if you want to call it that, because it has for me it has the best footwork, and for me I always look at footwork when I see something. And but when in regards to just pure boxing, it's a good fight. But I'm a freelance writer for the Fight City. I mostly do for MMA stuff, but they have some really great writers. And then you have Manny Montreal, who's one of their head guys. And we have what's cool. We also have one of our guys who writes for it, Lee Wiley. He does all those videos where he breaks down the technical stuff. I don't know if you've seen that.
Kind of like UFC, they do like breakdown.
Yeah, but he does like he always does a montage, and then he'll what do you call it? He'll pause it and reflect on it and explain and break down why that fighter was able to be so good. Or, for example, one of my favorite things he did recently was Triple G, Golovkin. He broke down his style, and but my favorite one he's done to date was he's probably my favorite boxer right now, Roman Gonzalez. He explained why he's so effective being able to stay in the pocket. I'm kind of going off tangent, but anyway, Lee Wiley's really great at this, and I always like it looking at it from a tactical perspective. But from the Fight City, there's a really cool article. Like, I agree with that. I forget who wrote the article, but just came out recently. He was talking about it's not a super fight, and I agree. They're treating it like a super fight. They're trying to sell it like a super fight. It's not. Although Canelo is an amazing boxer. Amir Khan is an amazing boxer too. But I don't know. I'm giving the edge to the younger and improving Canelo Alvarez. He's strong. He's fast for his size, and when I say size, he's a pretty big guy for his weight class. He looked huge although he did have to move up. Miguel Cotto, Miguel Cotto.
That was last fight.
Cotto looked undersized, but he did have to move up to fight him. But Amir Khan, I mean, he has his speed. He's very fast, but I think he's not Mayweather. He's no Mayweather. Mayweather's fast. He's good timing, and I think Canelo will be able. And Canelo keeps getting better. I've seen it. He's getting better in each fight. It's going to be. It's still an interesting fight in its own right. But it's not a super fight. I don't think it is. Canelo, he's good. Like I said, he's good and he's getting better. He hasn't had this will be his other than Cotto. This will be his biggest opponent. Well, obviously Mayweather, but I knew where that fight was going. But since the Mayweather fight, Canelo has been doing really, really good. He had a close call. I forget who he fought right after Mayweather, but his performance against Cotto, I mean, he's doing great.
I think the fight that people want to see is Canelo versus Golovkin.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are saying it.
I think that might be the fight if Canelo wins. Say he wins tomorrow night. I think the fight that might happen or people would want to see after tomorrow night would be Canelo Alvarez versus Golovkin. Right? Yeah, assuming he wins.
And
that would be a pretty good.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, they apparently used to spar, and I love Golovkin. Him and Roman Gonzalez are my two favorite boxers right now. I haven't enjoyed two boxers in a long time since Roy Jones Jr. Like, that's the last time I was like into a boxer. But I don't know. Triple G is this guy is just, he's so powerful and he's just so technically sound too. Like, in the sense, like he's such good position. He knows where to place himself to land shots, and it looks like he's not even trying. Like, he throws his punches. You don't see him wind up, which is another thing. Canelo hits hard, but I find sometimes he has to wind up to land those punches, or he overcommits. Because Golovkin doesn't need to. He just, like, obviously, I mean, Dominic Wade is not on par with Alvarez, but like some of the shots. At one point, it looked like Golovkin knocked him down by punching him in the shoulder.
I remember, I saw the highlights.
Yeah,
I didn't see the
fight.
It
was the uppercut that hurt him, that really dropped him, and that just knocked him down even more. He was already shook up, but if you just saw that punch, it would look like that he hit him so hard that he punched him in the shoulder and knocked him down. But he's just so effective. He's just so efficient. His economy of motion. That's it's a concept that we use a lot when we talk about fight sports or even in self-defense. Like, he's just so efficient with his movement. He doesn't wind up. His hands are always placed. He's almost always protected at all times, which is, sometimes it's rare to see guys, like, some guys have to wind up. Even guys who are really technical, like Juan Manuel Marquez, he gets caught dropping his hands sometimes, But Golovkin's usually pretty, and if he's dropping hands, he's doing it on purpose to show that he can take a hit. Like, he let Dominic Wade land like 3-4 punches on his face on purpose. Like, it's a big drama fight. He likes to make big drama, but he's awesome. Like, I don't, like, everyone's ducking him. Like, maybe it's because he's not as valued as him, but now his value is going up. It's true, he hasn't fought anyone. He hasn't fought anyone really that people can get him noticed compared to other guys. Even Canelo, at least he fought Mayweather, but he got totally outclassed. I don't think he won a single round. Somebody gave him a round somehow, but I didn't think he won a single round that fight. I don't know. Triple G's. I think he's just on another level. Like, these guys, it's hard to. He's trying to find opponents. He's just taking who's willing to fight him.
Yeah.
And
at this point,
and Canelo just keeps like he's saying things like before he's like, I would like to fight him eventually, but Golovkin's like, no, I want now. Or then recently I heard him. I saw an article. He's like, he's not. He doesn't deserve to fight me type thing. I don't know if that's a money thing. They're just trying to hype up. Maybe it's a marketing thing. They're just trying to hype up the fight when they do eventually fight, or if they fight. It would be a shame because Golovkin's not getting any younger, even though he looks like he's going to be an animal for a while. But I would like to see him fight somebody like Canelo finally. Like, he wants to fight Cotto, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think he's going to dismantle Cotto. Cotto's getting older too. He's so it's not as appealing, but it would be good to see him fight Canelo, and at least to show that he's really that dominant, and which I think he is, and he will be, at least for a while. Then we have the UFC is coming up.
Actually, before I want to ask something. There was news. There was talks of Amir Khan saying he wanted to start, or at least get into MMA a little bit.
Really?
I didn't hear that. Actually, I heard that. Amir Khan said he wanted to get. I don't know if it was promotion wise or he actually wanted to fight in the octagon, but he said something about trying, not transitioning completely, but trying to at least starting in MMA a little bit. Also, I don't know if you heard about Mayweather. Also said that. I think promotion-wise only that he wanted to get into MMA.
Yeah,
but
I don't think Mayweather would fight just because he's at his age at least. But maybe you never know. But most likely promotion-wise, on a promotion level, that's not a bad idea. I mean, it's still a growing sport. I'm not sure, but to fight, the thing is it's hard to break some habits. Like when you've been boxing for so long. If he was maybe doing, unless I don't know, if he was cross training that, maybe I have no idea. But you need to. The thing is, to MMA today, you have to be well rounded. If this was maybe 10 years ago, guys were already evolved. But a long time ago, and you could be that good at striking. Some guys were just so good at striking that it didn't matter what happened if they got to the ground. But look, the best example is Conor McGregor. As much as I love him as a fighter, he obviously has his flaws. Yep. He got caught. He got submitted. All his losses have been to submissions because he lacks a ground game. He focuses so much on just not getting to the ground, but you can't just do that. You have to develop, at least have a good defense, and he relies on just trying to scramble out. That will only work for so long. And if you get a guy who knows how to just grind it out, and Nate Diaz is the worst person to be against if you're trying, because he knows how to smother you, and that's what happened, right? And he kind of, I wouldn't say he got lucky, but when he fought Chad Mendes, I would think example of Conor against somebody like Frankie Edgar would be a very tough fight for him because Frankie is so well rounded. The only thing is if he gets caught, that's Connor's advantage is that he knows how to land. He's so precise with his strikes, and he can land and knock people out. But, I think that's what he was going for against Nate Diaz.
But it didn't work.
Diaz, he's tough. He's like, he can take a hit. Not that he hasn't been knocked out before. He's been dropped before and lost TKOs different times. But Connor being slightly undersized, that was a disadvantage for him. And, you have to be well-rounded. Amir Khan, I don't know what he would. But speaking of that, you just reminded me that apparently Sanchai, my favorite Muay Thai fighter of all time, is getting into MMA.
Yeah, Bulkout too. I saw it. Well, at least I saw it.
Yeah, I saw Bulkout training.
I saw a picture of him in an octagon.
Yeah,
I
saw him doing. He looked like he was doing some light rolling, which was pretty interesting. You never know, but like sometimes at the same time, athletes are athletes, and some guys are just they're sponges and they know how to mix it up. Like you never know. But I don't know. I don't know if Amir Khan has been training any grounding. Like they'd be just playing catch up with some of these guys. And plus, he too is not getting any younger. The difference with these guys, some of these guys have been training a long time in their art, and especially in the UFC, where like it favors a top game. Like when I say top game, like wrestling, people don't know that. If you wrestling, you have to have a good foundation in wrestling. That's one of the Achilles heel even for the Diaz brothers, because they hate wrestling. They like their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
They're very good. But but in a way, it's the way the rules are set up. Like somebody on top is going to be favored over the guy on the bottom, even if the guy's active on the bottom, unless he's like landing a lot of strikes and attempting a lot of submissions. But attempting a submission doesn't necessarily get points in the eyes of the judges. So like you have to have a good wrestling game. And it's hard to catch up with wrestling unless you're a really good athlete, like somebody like GSP, who just was like a sponge and he was so athletic and explosive. It worked for him. But some guys, like a lot of guys, you have to be well-rounded. You have to have started training in every discipline to be efficient as possible, or at least be really, really good in like at least one ground game style and a striking style, and or at least know how to set up. For example, I'm not the best fighter. I've only competed like a handful of times, but I was well-rounded. Like what I lacked in kicks, I would set up with my punches, and vice versa.
Your takedowns,
and my takedowns, I'll go for takedowns, but very simple takedowns. I'm not the best wrestler, but I'll set him up with strikes, which is like again, like my ass would get kicked by wrestlers who've been wrestling a while. I get wiped on the floor with jiu-jitsu guys all the time, but the same guys that I'll roll with in jiu-jitsu who don't have any striking game, it's a different game when somebody's throwing punches at you. And if you know how to set yourself up, then that's one of the advantages. But you what's cool is like you've taken up Taekwondo in the last year, and you're advancing pretty fast, and that's cool because it's like it's a traditional art and it takes a lot of discipline to do it. And how'd you get into that? Like, what made you want to do Taekwondo?
Well, I've always been. At least for me, my legs have always been my strongest, body part.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always liked the kicking aspect. Also, like growing up, Jean-Claude Van Damme has always been my childhood hero. So all of his kicks, he's more known for his kicks, his kicking style, fancy kicks, his helicopter kick, split kick. So like seeing that and growing up with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just got me in love with kicking more than I guess boxing, but yeah, that's why I was more interested in Taekwondo than any other traditional martial art.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was just so happened that there was a Taekwondo gym right next to my house, so it kind of worked out.
Cool.
It kind of worked out for me.
Yeah. No, but I've seen your videos. You're doing good. Like,
thanks.
Even helping some of our guys, like improving some of their kicks. Because the way I was trained, my kicking was from my Senshido training. Richard Dimitri, shout out to Rich, my bro. He's awesome. He one of the honestly the way he trained me. We were basically training in MMA before MMA was even conceived as because we had to learn every discipline, at least every range. We didn't specialize in anything, so we weren't. Some of us combative guys, like whether we're Senshido or whatever other systems that are out there, raw combatives, we learn as many each range, you know,
Mm-hmm.
striking, grappling, and so on. But just to you have to understand it. You know, you have to the whole mentality, know your enemy, like Musashi, Japanese samurai, philosopher. He would say that, know your enemy. So you have to at least understand. That's why Bruce Lee was so good with this stuff, because he was a mixed martial artist in the true sense of the word. Like, I mean, he trained different things. Did he master every single thing? No. You don't have to master everything. I honestly believe being a jack of all trades is more efficient for fighting, because fighting is fighting. It's not just boxing. It's not just kicking. You have to understand your range, because anything can happen, whether it's MMA, which is a mixed sport, or in the street, in self-defense scenarios. You have to know what to do on the ground. You don't have to necessarily know how to do a Kimura lock or arm bars and triangle chokes, but to at least defend against each thing is key.
Exactly.
Yeah. My father-in-law's here. But yeah.
Do you want to talk about the UFC card tomorrow real quick?
Yeah, for sure. It's Overeem.
Yeah.
Fighting?
So the main event is Overeem versus Arlovsky.
Yeah.
So it's funny because they're both from.
They're both at Greg.
Yeah, they're
Jackson
both at
they were sparring
Jackson.
partners recently, like,
yeah, exactly.
Helping each other in their last fight. That's always a tough call, because
I hate fighting my teammates. I don't know.
It's not like with Jovian and George, two of my students. They grappling and they have to face each other. So I couldn't coach them because I couldn't corner them, because I have to be impartial. But that must be hard even for a coach. For the cornerman, like, what do you do? Like, and I guess one. I don't know if maybe Winklejohn will be in one corner and Jackson in the other, or somebody, maybe neither of them. They'll just get one of their
they might have just like their own coaches or their own training partners.
But that's always tough. But interesting matchup. Arlovsky is still always dangerous despite his age, but his chin is questionable. But so is Overeem. Like, he's been dropped.
Right. Yeah, he's been dropped a couple times too.
Travis Brown knocked him out, and he's. I mean, these are heavyweights, right? So anything can happen.
Exactly. At least that's what I like about heavyweight fights. That anything can happen. You can have a knockout in the first round. You can have a knockout in the fifth
the guy
round.
could be losing, and also because these are 230 plus, 220 plus guys who are like, and you put 220 pounds behind a punch or kick.
That's lights out.
That could be lights out for anybody, and it could be hard. Arlovsky showed a lot of heart when he beat. Was it Brown? Remember that epic fight? It wasn't the prettiest fight, but the one guy went down and was rocked, and then the other guy comes back. And
yes, that was Travis Brown.
Yeah, it was Arlovsky, Travis Brown. Both I love both guys, but it depends. It depends what kind of Arlovsky and what kind of Overeem shows up for that fight. Never. I don't think you can ever underestimate Arlovsky, because he has the experience, but Overeem lately. He looked good in his last fight.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the prettiest victory, but he was efficient and he set up his strikes well. His defense was good. He was a little more defensive than usual, but he wanted to win, and I think I would give it to Overeem. I think Overeem takes this fight, but you can never count Arlovsky out, because he can throw. He hits hard. He has good boxing. He has good hands. So. I don't know.
I at least I give the edge to Arlovsky. I think the experience, the experience, and he has a lot of power.
He
didn't look too.
You could easily catch him with something. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Travis Brown fight, that was he did some pretty good damage.
And Travis Brown hits hard.
Exactly.
He's a knockout artist, and he took his hit and he came back and knocked him out.
Yep.
Again, same thing, another thing. Travis Brown he can hit, but for him to take a hit too, is another thing. It's it depends. I think it depends on which version of each guy shows up that night. Which is, I know it sounds like an easy answer, but I think I'm giving a slight edge to Overeem. I think he has few more tools in his arsenal. But but like I said, you can never count Arlovsky out. Like, he can all of a sudden just land that one bomb, that one overhand right, and it could be over.
Exactly. Well, if it goes to the ground, do you know who's?
I think Arlovsky has a little more wrestling.
A little more wrestling.
But Overeem has a good ground and pound. He has pretty good ground, and he's I think he's slightly bigger. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Heavier.
He has a big frame.
Yeah, he's a large frame,
Big guy.
but Arlovsky's a big guy too. I think Arlovsky has better wrestling though. I've rarely seen him on the ground lately, but he knows how to position himself for that kind of stuff. I think he'll know. The thing is, like I said, it's just his chin is questionable. So if he gets rocked, that's the only thing. But I think he's better defensively. Whereas I find Overeem, when he gets defensive, he just turtles up.
Right.
Or Arlovsky will try to scramble out if it gets to the ground. If it happens that way, the only reason he'll get hurt is not because he'll just turtle up and let it happen. He'll just end up opening up and get knocked out by a heavy shot. But I think defensively he's a little more effective. He knows how to position and get himself out better than Overeem. So I think it's a toss up on the ground. But I think Arlovsky has a slight advantage due to he has a little bit more wrestling.
He has a little bit more experience.
And in a grappling perspective. I think.
Yeah, at least. Because Overeem, he came from like K1.
Yeah,
so he's a bit more. He's a bit more stand up.
Yeah, his tendency is stand up.
Exactly.
Arlovsky has good boxing, so usually has good boxing. He's trained with Fedorov in the past and so on. But even like I said, Arlovsky almost beat Fedor. He was the first one. He was the closest to beating Fedor. He just got caught with that overhand right.
Yeah.
Back in was that Pride? No.
I think so.
Yeah,
Pride.
I can't remember. Anyway, either way, it was a while ago. But he rocked. He was beating him standing up, but then he got over anxious, opened up, and that's his one flaw is that he tends to over up. He gets over anxious and he gets hit. Well, I guess that sums up for our first
episode 1 of the Fighting Nerds.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have a logo. If there is, you'll see it.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll see it. Come up.
We'll be there.
It'll come up there.
We're getting our boy to do it. So
yeah.
Hope you'll enjoy. We'll have more.
This is just the first episode, so I mean we don't know how this podcast is going to evolve as we record it, but the more we record, the more it'll kind of create its own thing.
Yeah,
like evolve into its own thing.
And if you guys have any questions, all 5 of you are probably watching it or listening.
we'll start a Q&A. We'll have like a Q&A. I guess we'll have like a coach's corner, kind of like Wes is kind of explaining like all the fights and everything from a coach perspective. I guess we'll have another segment like Q&A. You guys can send in your questions through Twitter or Instagram. I guess we'll tweet it out or decide that as we go along. And you guys can ask questions.
We'll also do matchups, like from a nerd perspective, like superheroes, because since we will do like a combative thing, like who would win.
Yeah,
like we'll break it down.
Exactly, kind of like we did the Cap Iron Man, but maybe we'll do like a one-on-one. Maybe like next time we could do a Cap versus Iron Man, who would win based on skill, power.
Yeah, cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
So till next time.
Yeah. See ya.